Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me in the studio for tonight Dr. Nabil Mawla, the strategic planning expert. During the past report, you were telling me that this is a publicity to Khan al-Khalili, a publicity to Egypt as a touristic hub. How do you see the importance of what happened yesterday? The French president, of course, along with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, visiting Khan al-Khalili, visiting Old Cairo and the Islamic part of Cairo, as well as the Grand Egyptian Museum.
This is a multi-trillion dollar, not billion, trillion dollars media campaign. In addition to the facts which President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi wanted to confirm. This is Egypt, this is the stability, this is who we are, what we are. We are in the middle of the busiest area in all over Cairo.
All over Egypt.
In all over Egypt.
Yes.
It's very hard. I don't know how they did it, but it's very hard to do it, but they did it. They were saluting everybody in the street.
It's very safe.
This is
very organized.
This is what President Fattah al-Sisi wanted to say.
Yes.
Although what's surrounding Egypt, so don't listen that Egypt is unsafe. Although what's going on around Egypt, here we are in Egypt. I'm here in the middle of Egypt, in the busiest area, with President Macron, enjoying our time, having shisha, having fool and falafel, and so on. This is actually what he wanted to say, and he has succeeded very much. And enhancing the cultural relationship between the Egyptian and the French presidency and people and communities. In addition to what happened later on for education and so on. Adding to that, the Grand Egyptian Museum. If you wanted to have a $1 trillion campaign to tell the whole world, this is the opening, the Grand Egyptian Museum has opened, and Egypt is totally safe, you would not achieve what's going to happen after this visit.
Yes, and especially living in the age of social media. The French president posted on social media accounts, and more specifically Instagram, what happened yesterday, the picture with the songs, with what is happening within the heart of Egypt and maybe the busiest part of Egypt. Dr. Nabil, you led us to another important point and another top story. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the French counterpart Emmanuel Macron arrived at Adli Mansour interchange station in Cairo earlier today. The two presidents were received by Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, the Minister of Transport Kamel El-Wazir, and a number of senior state officials. The station is built on an area of 30 fedans to serve 5 different means of transportation, including trains, buses, and a metro stop. What is the importance of the French president visiting the station of Adli Mansour?
This is the metro, which France has already supported Egypt financially by a very long-term loan with very good facilities for the 3rd line. And currently the 6th line.
Yes.
In addition to the fact that Egypt and France are, according to the strategic partnership they have agreed, they have signed, there will be more cooperation in railway stations and producing much more parts of the industry to be mostly produced in Egypt. This is the importance of that visit.
Yes, before the report we said that there will be cooperation between France and Egypt in the fields of healthcare, education and transport. This is an embodiment of cooperation between Egypt and France in transport, of course, with the attendance and the presence of Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli and the Minister of Transport and the Industry Kamel El-Wazir. What do we expect in the field of transport in specific?
Much more business opportunities, employment opportunities from private sector in France, private sector in Egypt, which will be reflected on the employment opportunities which would be expected, which they have expected to be almost 50,000 during the next period, the next short period.
Yes.
That means much more stability for the Egyptian employment, much more cooperation, much more knowledge and know-how to be transferred from France to Egypt, and according to what President Macron said that Egypt and Egyptian researchers are very much advanced in technology researches, and they are looking forward to have a very close relationship between French researchers and Egyptian researchers for having that mutual and bilateral cooperation between both parts for the know-how going and coming.
Yes, Doctor, from the cooperation between Egypt and France in the field of transport to the cooperation between the both countries in the field of education, as French President Emmanuel Macron visited Cairo University headquarters within the framework of his official visit to the country. Macron attended the Egyptian-French Universities Forum that mirrors the deep and historical cultural relations binding Egypt and France over decades, and asserted the importance of boosting joint scientific cooperation as well as enhancing connection between the cultures and peoples of both countries. The French President was received by the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Ayman Ashour, Head of Cairo University, Mohammed Sami, and a number of deans and professors of several faculties. How can we be having more cooperation between France and Egypt in the field of education in general, and as we did see today, higher education in specific?
That's what they have done for the strategic partnership they have signed, and they have been talking. They have been, there is already, and they will be developed and signed off for 50 academic degrees,
yes,
40 protocols, which is too much in scientific and education sector between both people's communities.
Yes, and Doctor, finally with the last top story for today that took place on Monday. On Tuesday, the French President Emmanuel Macron will be heading to the port of El Arish in northern Sinai to highlight the humanitarian plight faced by the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. The port of El Arish, 50 kilometers west of the Gaza Strip, has been a key transit point for the international aid arriving for Gaza. Macron's office said that he is to meet the humanitarian and the security workers there to demonstrate his constant mobilization in favor of a ceasefire. Most international aid went through the Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt, but this has been suspended by Israel since early March. On Tuesday, there will be a visit by the French President to El Arish. How do you see the significance of such a visit and the location of it?
The location would say the significance of that visit and the location itself would declare to the whole world.
Yes.
Egypt and France are having one united point of view. We are refusing what's happening in Gaza. We are supporting the ceasefire restore. We have agreed with Egypt on one point of view, which is we have to keep Syria safe, we have to keep Lebanon safe, we have to keep the Syrian and Lebanese people and country are united together. So we are refusing all reasons of war. We need peace. We are in one location and with Egypt.
Yes, and the humanitarian plight, that is the main word here, faced by the Palestinians over the past 2 years, will be highlighted by the French President through the visit to El Arish. What are the main responses, in your opinion, that will be happening to this visit, to be shedding more light on what is happening in Palestine, to be showing the people, to be showing the world the plight of the humanitarian suffering for the Palestinians, and more specifically in the Gaza Strip?
They will confirm very intensively what's happening over there, and they will be focusing more on the suffer which Gaza's people are suffering and having right now.
Yes.
And that would be a kind of pressure over USA, as they are the most supported country for whatever Israel is doing right now. So that means it's more pressure from Europe to over USA, confirming that whatever said, whatever Egypt has declared from humanitarian aid, from ceasefire restore, from supporting Gaza's people for better living, for two nations solutions, for political solutions, stopping the war, we are with Egypt, and that will put lots of pressure, I think, from Europe over USA to start moving toward the political solution and end the war in the way that Trump promised with.
Yes, and speaking of support, this says a lot about the Rafah border crossing controlled by Egypt, of course, in terms of entry of the humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip over the past 2 years, and of course, on a continuous level, on a permanent level as well. But how do you see the importance of the Rafah border crossing and the role of Egypt in the entry of the humanitarian aid to the Palestinians? Of course, it was blocked by Israel ever since the month of March.
I think that would happen tomorrow. He will see himself that our border is already opened. We are not preventing any aid from entering into Rafah border between Egypt and Gaza.
Yes.
But the part which is preventing already is Israel. So please put much more pressure over Israel for the humanitarian aid to enter and go to the Gaza people.
Yes, Dr. Nabil Mawla, the strategic planning expert, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
The pleasure was mine. Thank you, and for your audience.
Anytime.
Thank you very much.
And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you next week.